Alrighty, so it is Wednesday, and we are midweek. We got ourselves two games because we always have two or less games. It's so strange. The channel always does so much better during the playoffs, and yet for me, there's so much less to track. So it kind of feels like during the season, like I'm killing myself getting through all these games, all this news, everything's going on. And it's okay. Did I hit my numbers today? How am I doing? And then during the playoffs, it's sort of like, oh, I hit my numbers already. Cool. All right. So for people who are like, he's got more videos, that's why. I have a lot less to track, so I have more time for doing the fun video stuff than during the regular season. Regular season is quite the slog. Anyways, not as lucrative either in terms of feeling like there were days during the regular season where I would just be so exhausted. And then I look at my numbers next day and be like, man, that so wasn't worth it. Anyhow, let's start things up with the Islanders in Carolina. Carolina up 2 games to nothing in their series, because if you look, you'll see this is game 3, this is game 4. The magic of playoff scheduling, which is fine because Carolina needed the extra day off. Now, what they're saying about Peter Mrazek is he's good. We'll see, right? Game 1 between these two teams, Carolina won 1-0. The hits were 44-38 for the New York Islanders. Giveaways were 25-10 for the New York Islanders. You can't give away the puck 25 times and expect to win. Both teams went 0 for 4 on the power play. In Game 2, Carolina wins 2-1. The hits were 44-33 for the New York Islanders, but the giveaways were 24-14 for the New York Islanders. The Carolina Hurricanes are forcing the Islanders into making bad plays, something that Pittsburgh wasn't doing in the first round. The power plays, 0 for 3 was Carolina, 1 for 2 was the New York Islanders. So Carolina needs to stay out of the box and get their power play going at the same time. Their penalty kill wasn't fantastic in the last series either. Again, as I've mentioned before, when you're against Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, etc., 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 it's expected that you're going to have your nights of struggling on the penalty kill. Top scorers on the Islanders side of things: Eberle, 4 goals and 3 assists. Barzal, 1 goal, 5 assists. Bailey, 3 goals and an assist. Lee with a goal and 3 assists, and Filppula with 4 assists. And they could really use like a big star-making game out of Matthew Barzal tonight, because if Carolina wins, it's done. You're not coming back from 3-0 down. And I know people are going to say, well, what about San Jose and LA, and what about Philly and Boston? You're not coming back from 3-0 down. Your mathematical odds are so slight. On the Carolina side of things, Jacob Slavin with 10 assists. It has been fantastic for him this year. And should they move on to the next round, does he then start getting a lot of that praise from the general public and media that he deserves? Warren Fogle, who's been a revelation, he's the John Druce of these playoffs. 5 goals and 2 assists. Jordan Staal, 4 goals, 3 assists. Dougie Hamilton, 3 goals, 3 assists. And Tara Vinen has 3 goals and 2 assists. Conspicuous by his absence from the list is Sebastian Aho. We're still waiting for this big appearance from him in this huge game. And he's had moments, but we have yet to see a really dominant game from him. Again, if he has that tonight, Carolina's going to be into the next round. I can't see the New York Islanders coming back from 3-0. And it would not be the first time that a team sweeps in the first round and then gets swept in the second round, should it happen. It does happen on occasion. Robin Lehner's 4-2 in these playoffs now with a .952 save percentage, 1.47 goals against. So if somebody's going to say, if they had Grace in there, Grace has a good record against Carolina, I might say, maybe, but Lehner has fantastic numbers so far in this series. On the Carolina side, Mrazek 5-3 with a 2.22 goals against and a .913 save percentage. McElhinney with that very important win in Game 2 didn't allow a goal. So all of his other numbers are completely perfect. And really, honestly, if Carolina needs to go with him, I think the players like playing in front of him. And this is where having that goaltending tandem is good. Now, if something were to happen and both goalies are hurt, then we might have ourselves a conversation. The odds of that happening, however, are pretty slim. It very rarely, if ever, happens in playoff hockey that you see the top two goaltenders go down. I'm trying to think, like during the Oilers in 2006, Rolison went down, and then it was Conklin and Markkanen that were the 2 and 3 goaltenders there, I believe. But I don't think Conklin got hurt and Markkanen ended up in there. Anyways, that's a whole other conversation for a whole other time. For the New York Islanders, they need to jump on that power play and take advantage of it. They need to play Islander hockey. The one thing that's a detractor for the New York Islanders, the one thing that you can look at for the Islanders and say, well, this is a problem, is that they've been playing Islander hockey. They're hitting. There's not very many scoring opportunities. There's not a lot of goals being scored, and they're losing at it. So if they decide to start opening things up, that could play into Carolina's hands. The Islanders are in a very interesting position. Losing both games at home, it's bad. We saw that in the last round. That very often leads to your team is done. That's why all the division winners are out. Struggling to win at home will do that to you. But we'll see, right? Can the Islanders go in and win both in Carolina, which I think is necessary for them to win the series? The answer is, of course, they can. Will they? It's gonna be tough. I expect a very loud bunch of Jerks fans tonight in Carolina. I expect to see a whole bunch of Jerks t-shirts and all that tonight as well. It should be very entertaining. And again, Carolina, when they make the playoffs, which is very rare, for some reason, they just go to the conference finals. I said that at the start of the playoffs, and then I went, not this year, though. It's just what we do every time. Every time. All right. The other game on tonight is St. Louis and Dallas. And, of course, I don't have to explain to Dallas fans or St. Louis fans just how important this is. If St. Louis wins tonight, they can go home for Game 5 with the idea of taking out Dallas early. And at this time of the year, it's important not for the rest, it's important for the injuries. It's important that you get those days where guys can heal up, and it's important that you don't spend those extra couple of games 6 and 7, getting hurt. So for St. Louis, if they win tonight, Dallas is in a heap of trouble. Then they got to win 3 in a row. For Dallas, yeah, just that's it. Win. Just win. Just go out there and win. This is where Ben and Sagan make their money. This is where we find out just how strong that defense is and whether or not Bishop can go out there. And basically, the way things have been going in this series, may have to pitch a shutout. Game 1, St. Louis won it 3-2. The hits were 24-22 for Dallas. Giveaways were 8-6 for Dallas. Both teams went 1 for 2 on the power play. In Game 2, Dallas won 4-2. The hits were 24-16 for St. Louis. Giveaways were again 8-6 for Dallas. Dallas went 0 for 2 on the power play. St. Louis went 0 for 5. And that was key in that game. That when St. Louis got all those power plays, it didn't help. St. Louis won the last game 4-3. The hits were 29-28 for Dallas. Giveaways 13-9 for Dallas. They got to stop that. St. Louis 0 for 2 on the power play. Dallas 1 for 4. So Dallas needs to assert themselves on special teams as well and find a way to keep them off the board, which is easier said than done. I took some heat for not mentioning Tarasenko in the last preview. I will say this. They haven't needed him so far. Yeah, he's got 4 goals. He's got 0 assists. He's got 4 points in 9 games. They really haven't needed him that much. And 2 of those goals were scored in the same game in this series. So he's only scored 2 goals in the other 8 games in the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see what happens tonight, right? Schwartz has been the story for them. Jaden Schwartz, 6 goals, 2 assists. Pietrangelo, a goal and 7 assists. Ryan O'Reilly, 2 goals, 4 assists. Colton Parayko, a goal, 5 assists. Perron, 2 goals, 3 assists. And Tyler Bozak with 2 goals and 3 assists as well. On the Dallas side of things, Ben, 2 goals, 6 assists. And then a bunch of players at 7 points. Radulov, 5 goals, 2 assists. Hintz at 4 goals, 3 assists. He has been, of course, fantastic throughout the playoffs. They need a big game from him tonight. Zuccarello, 3 goals, 4 assists. Same number as Tyler Sagan. And Klingberg with a goal and 6 assists for the Dallas Stars. And for Dallas, this is a huge game. Can't be said enough. This is the biggest game of the year. Yada, 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 yada. And for St. Louis, all they have to do is win 2 more games. And they're in the conference finals. Potentially against San Jose again. in a 2016 rematch. So as crazy and as unusual as these playoffs may look, we may end up with a rematch in the conference finals anyways. Binnington, 6-3 in these playoffs with a 2.65 goals against, 910 save percentage. His numbers are a little bit lower than what we've actually seen from him. His numbers do not tell you just how solid he's been and just how important he's been for Dallas so far, or for St. Louis so far. And I guess for Dallas too, because with a lesser goalie in net, Dallas is probably up 2-1. Bishop, 5-4 in these playoffs now with a 2.26 goals against, 931 save percentage. Bishop has to make sure those soft ones don't get through. And I know it's brutal. It is brutal to have a goaltender, again, that's up for the Vezina, one of the best goalies in the league. But that's that occasional soft goal. It's once every other game, and he can't do that tonight. If he does that tonight, especially if it's early, St. Louis could really shut this down. This is a Blues team that's been very focused the whole playoffs. They know what they're doing. They had the best record in the league, I believe it was after mid-January. And so, Dallas cannot take them lightly, or else they're going to be down 3-1. But it should be very interesting hockey tonight. And this one, I believe it said on Sportsnet, starts at 6:45. How bleeding late are they starting the game for you guys in Dallas? Are they really starting it that late? I'm going to check my TV listings and make sure that's right, because if they're starting it that late in Dallas, I don't know. This is where playoff scheduling kind of throws me off, is when, for TV reasons, they move start times around by hours and hours. And I wonder if it throws off teams. And for fans, it's got to suck. Like, oh, the game doesn't start till 9 o'clock my time. Like, it's just, that's late. I get kind of a little bit snippy if I'm going to Vancouver and I'm like, oh, the Canucks game starts at 7:30. Oh, it's not going to be, we're not going to be out of there. We're not going to be home till like almost midnight. So, yeah, playoff time. They absolutely seem to do that to teams in central time zones. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support, and I'll talk to you again soon.